Hello, this is John from the Haunt Informer,
And I'm Glenn from Fall Ritual.
and this is episode 22 of Fall Informer. And today we have a special guest, Carlos from Hackney Haunts.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Glad
Yes,
to be here.
thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
So what got you into the haunts and the haunt industry, and then getting together with Jason and Sarah at Hackney Haunts?
Okay, so that's a long one. Well, not really, I guess. So I started home haunting, I guess, in my backyard in 2018. I did the typical PVC pipes with black, plastic and strobe lights and whatnot. It was maybe 800 square feet in my backyard. It was like a few minutes to walk through it. I let the neighborhood go in for free. Um, that year, I faced so many troubles with the wind. I'm located in Maryland, so with the wind and rain and everything, it kept destroying everything. It took like 3 weeks to set that up. So the following year, I did it. I was like, all right, forget this. I'm doing this all out of plywood. I'm gonna make this really cool. So I went out. I bought plywood. I bought paint. I distressed my walls. I went out. I was searching for furniture, and I themed it out. And that year, I did a haunt, and it was like a like a haunted manor kind of style. So you went through the living rooms, and it was all themed out. Living room, down a hallway and whatnot. And eventually you end up in the basement where it was like a torture chamber kind of thing. And, everyone loved it. And that year I had 800 people in like 2 nights. And I was nervous that the police were going to just shut me down the next following year. So, yeah. So I was like, I reached out to like a few different haunters, like haunt owners. And I knew Jason was on his first year. So I reached out to him, and I was just trying to get ideas of like, hey, how'd you get a place? How did it go? I just wanted to find a location where I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm doing it for free, so it's not for money or anything. And that year, I met Jason, and we kind of clicked really well. So that year, I brought my stuff up, and I did like a lot of their sets and stuff, and I became the creative director. Um, and that year, COVID hit too. So it was 2020. I got actually furloughed from my job that year. Everyone got shut down. You know how that went. Um, so what I did was I didn't want to sit inside the house and do nothing all day. So for 6 months, I went to the haunt every day, and I just crafted it. So the first year, it was my first year doing foam work. So I made the facade like it was like a castle kind of style with like layers of layers. And then I did a bunch of other stuff, and that year we doubled Hackney Haunts' numbers from the previous year. So the following year, they ended up making me a co-owner, and we got a second location. So we had two attractions this past year, and we also even had a little ticket booth that I kind of decorated out. And and that's how we got to where we are now. And this year we're not expanding any more than we did last year, because last year we expanded to two attractions, a corn maze, and all the prices of lumber went up. Everything went up. It was one of the most difficult years me and him have ever had, and I hope we never have anything that difficult again. But yeah, that's how we met. And then this year we do plan on perfecting what we have already rather than expanding. We do have plans for hopefully in the next like 3 to 5 years. He just bought a 33-acre land, so hopefully, fingers crossed, sooner than later we'll be able to make a screen park and do multiple attractions, scare zones midway. So yeah, but that's pretty much how I got into it. Yeah, just doing the home haunt, and then kind of just needed to go somewhere, and I just took the leap and was like, all right, I'm gonna take my savings out, throw it in it, and let's see what happens. Yeah.
Nice. It's a really cool story. Nice.
Yeah.
I
Sorry, it
hear
was a
a
little
lot of,
long, right?
no, it's okay. It's a podcast. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What people want.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully, right?
Yeah. So my first question for you is, what has been your favorite set you've created for Hackney Haunts that you made out of foam?
Out of foam. All right. Okay. It's probably gonna have to be this year the Q line. I think it was one of my favorites. I didn't fully complete it the way I wanted to, which this year I am going to, but it took me, the queue line took me about almost 2 months to, from construction to the final hard code and, lighting and stuff. In our queue line, and I think one thing that made it my favorite was because it all the ambient music that I had playing in there, and then I actually created a light show, like a program show. So I had my main actor come out every 20 minutes or something, and he would hit a button and I would activate this light show, and he was voiced over, so he would talk, and he was wearing this really cool silicone mask and this cool costume that I designed for him, and he would talk to the customers while they're waiting in line. And so some of the reactions, I would go in there every once in a while and peek my head in there, and some of the reactions from the people, it was just fun watching their reactions, because they're like, oh my god, what is that? The ones that are scared are like already shaking before they even entered, and then the other ones are like, wow, that's cool, taking pictures and stuff. So, and also, I mean, my lead actor, he's one of the best actors. I mean, he can go off script, and he's quick, he's witty. But yeah, so I would say that the queue line, yeah. So close second is the graveyard, just because I built so many different mausoleums, and I did this cool style of textures on the walls where it was like stone blocks. Ideally, like that was my concept, and then a lot of the stones have been falling off, so now there's like chunks of it. And then I think I detailed that pretty well, like distress wise. I had malls coming up, so you really felt like you were outside, especially with the music and everything. But yeah, I think that's close second. So those two are really close, but I think the queue line takes it. Yeah.
Awesome. So
Yep.
thank you for telling that mobile set. So, because I know you have worked and expected with foam, so I'm happy you talked about mobile things.
Yeah. I think this year I do plan on doing some crazy. Like every year I want to up it up even more, and this year I don't want to give it away, but it's going to be some 3D sculptures and big facades, like monsters out of foam, which I'm hoping it comes out good. I mean, every year I'm trying something new, so I want to push myself until I can really create some like amazing things. Yeah.
Now, is that difficult? Because I know you guys are located inside a mall. It's hard to execute because you're limited with your space.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, some things are cool because we are inside a mall. We get away with like we have our sprinklers. So like the logistics of a haunt, we get away with it because we have, like I said, we have fire sprinklers. There's tons of parking. So for our haunt idea, like it works, like because just like I said, unlimited parking, fire sprinklers. So that helps with the fire marshals. Where I'm constricted is our locations aren't the biggest. I mean, they're a good size, I would say, but our ceilings are only 12 feet tall, and I always constantly have like these elaborate ideas where I want to build 30-foot facades. Like I want 30-foot like castles and stuff. Like this year, like so our second attraction was the possession house, and I built this house, right, and it was about 20 feet long, maybe 24 feet long, and proportionally, a house, if it's that wide long, you would imagine it being like 20 feet tall or 24 feet tall, it goes up. But because we only had 12-foot ceilings, I had to like pull it back down and just kind of like reconstruct it in my head and figure out a way like where it doesn't look goofy. But same thing with the castle inside. So inside of our attractions, I try to build a lot of facades, which just so it's just like a cool wow thing. So every like new scene you enter, it's like, wow, like this big facade rather than just like this cool little room. It's, you see big buildings and then you go into smaller buildings and stuff. But like we had a castle, and initially when I drew it up, and I knew the ceilings were only 12 feet, so I don't know what I was thinking, but I drew it as a 16-foot castle. And then when I got to the construction part, I was like, oh man, I didn't think this went through, so I had to redraw it. But yeah, the height of the mall does kind of ruin some things just because our ceilings. But besides that, I mean, it's a normal open floor plan that we get to play around with, and so it's not terrible. It's not too many constrictions. It's just like I said, I say the ceiling. I mean, I would love a haunt that's 30,000 square feet. I mean, I have many ideas for that. Trust me. But hopefully, when we get our screen park, I get to build some bigger things. But yeah, the ceiling's like the main problem, I guess. Yeah.
Gotcha. So when we were talking to Kim Yates recently, I heard a friend of yours, she said that
Yeah, she's
you just got a whole bunch of new props and animatronics from Pure Terra Screen Park. And I'd like to know if you could give any sort of teaser to what you're going to do this year.
okay. All right. So I will say, all right. So one thing that we do at Hackney Haunts is that we completely change the themes every year, which is absurd. You know, any haunter will tell you, especially pro haunter, when you're going as elaborate as we are with sets and stuff, it's it's a challenge. I mean, it's expensive too. It's not cheap, and I don't build sets that are like normal, just one painted wall distressed. I like to add layers and layers. So especially with the foam work, and then just I think I try to bring everyone when you go inside the attraction, it's immersed. You feel like you're really there. Like, and if you look at all of our reviews, say we might be a mall haunt, but once you walk inside, you're not in a mall. And I think that's one of the greatest things to hear from people. But yeah, so every year I've been throwing in all my savings into like props and stuff. I buy all the props and stuff just because I love props. I'm not gonna lie, like I think props are cool. It's just, but so I did buy a lot of stuff from Pure Terror. I will say that was one of the smallest purchases, and me and Kim filled up a truckload. So there's a lot coming to Hackney Haunts this year, especially after Trans World. And I tease a lot of it if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, especially on my Instagram stories, because that way it's not there and you can't go back and be like, oh, they did this. It's like, oh, you can see it for a day and that's it. But I will say, without giving it away, let's just say we're going to go back to man, it's hard because I don't want to ruin it because we haven't released the themes yet. It's
All
two
right.
different, completely different themes. But I will say there's going to be a lot more prop and animatronics. It's more than it. I would say it's almost 10 times as much as we had this previous year. 10 times. Yeah, and they're not. I refuse to ever have cheap props or things that you can buy in the store just because I want you to come here and see stuff that you've never seen before. So it's all high end, really high end stuff, and realistic looking things. And the movements of some of the pneumatics I'm working on, they're going to be. I mean, you're going to think they're a person, but it's not. And I think the themes are going to be really cool. It's going to allow me to do a lot of different styles. So yeah, that's as much as I can really say right now.
Gotcha.
But like I said, if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you'll see sneak peeks and you'll kind of get an idea.
So bigger, bad, and better than ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think this is. I might peak after this year. I don't know if I can do anything better after this year with my idea right now. So we'll see.
All right.
So you have the inside one, you have the mall one, and then you have the corn maze that people can go to. How does that work? Do people come to the mall, go through that, and then they have to drive out to the corn maze one and do that? I mean, how does that work?
All right. Well, so
going?
So the two mall ones are just Hackney Haunts. It's just me and my partner and his wife. It's me, Jason, and Sarah. That's what we own. It's ours. And we get to work on it all year long. The corn maze was actually partnered up with this farm. It's called Local Homestead, and they've been around for years. Great people to work with, and we decided to team up with them this year to make corn maze. They already had a kid friendly one, so they wanted to do a scary one for like night events, and so it was essentially almost two separate events. So most people, like, he has a following already with his farm. People go to his farm every weekend to buy groceries or do throughout this year different events and stuff. So that was I mean, when people went through the mall ones, we try to push them to go to the corn maze, and if the people went to the corn maze, we try to send them to the mall. But essentially, it was two separate events. You bought tickets at two different locations, and Yeah, and that was it was a little confusing for a lot of people because everyone thought, hey, you go to the malls and it's so this year we're going to try to market it a little bit better, so it's a little bit more understanding. But we're actually not doing the horror one. It's going to be a kid friendly one that will only cater to pretty much like the younger family, so kids can go through it. We'll have like cute blow up things, and it'll still be like creepy, but it won't, you're not running out scaring like, and there's no actors or chainsaws there. But yeah, I mean it was a little confusing, but yeah, it was essentially two separate things. So a lot of people would go there one night and then come to us at the mall the following night, or vice versa. But it was
Gotcha.
a cool little experiment. It was fun to try out. We learned a lot. So yeah.
Nice.
No.
This is something that I thought was really interesting when I was doing research about your haunt. I thought was really cool because not many places do this. You actually, at your mall location for Hackney Haunts, you actually did a haunt one year where it was based off of a bunch of holidays, actually 7 holidays. And I wanted to know which of the holidays did you enjoy the most creating?
All right, I got hands down St. Patrick's. I
Nice.
love Ireland, and I thought that was like a perfect one to do, just because leprechauns. I mean, how fun is that? Like that year, I actually made a little bar facade, and you entered it. You were inside the bar,
Nice.
and I work with my one friend. He's actually the vocalist of my band, and he owns a studio. So he did all the voiceovers for my leprechauns. So in the backing tracks, I made this audio track and I threw his voiceover. So the whole time he's saying things in the backing track with the music. So he's like, "Oh, you better watch out." And he would throw in a few little funny things. He's like, one of them was, "Where's me Lucky Charms?" And it was so faint that you couldn't notice. But I always thought that I throw in a million Easter eggs that no one's gonna see it, but for me in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, it's funny. And like if you did hear, you're like, did he just say Lucky Charms? But yeah, but that one was hands down my favorite. Yeah, the leprechaun, obviously St. Patrick's. Yeah, no questions.
Yeah. What's funny is that we're posting this in March, so
Yeah, right? Yeah,
um,
I'll probably post some pictures of that year and for St. Patty's just to be like, hey, happy St. Patty's. Remember this? Just because it was a good year. I mean, I liked that was actually Sarah's idea,
oh,
Jason's
okay.
wife.
Nice.
Yeah. So when I came in on board, they already had the theme ideas, and
Oh,
it was
okay.
challenging doing some of the holidays. One of the most like trying to make, how do you make like Easter scary, or how do you make, I mean, I guess Easter could be easy because it's like a bloody rabbit if you wanted to. We didn't go that route, but Thanksgiving was a little hard to do, pull off, and I think Fourth of July was a little hard, but I think we did pretty well. So
What do you do for 4th of July? Did you have like people getting blown up from fireworks or something?
yeah, so essentially, the concept was you were walking like in a like so. It's very themed out everything we do. We make sure everything has somewhat of a storyline. And I create some more elaborate storylines in my head, but it just helps me with the build process and the designing process. But for Fourth of July, so we had like it was like you're walking in like an alley kind of thing, and we had crates and stuff. And as you got closer, you got to a fireworks stand, and you walked inside the fireworks stand, and we had this big explosion program show. So like Uncle Sam would come out, and I made this mask for him, and that was I thought was pretty cool. And half his face was burnt out, so it looked like it was a skull but burnt, while the other face was like an old man.
Nice.
And he would come out, and it was like the backing track was fireworks exploding. So when you hit the trigger, it was like and it was colorful lights everywhere, and it was just him laughing, going and it was pretty loud. I don't know if you know this about us, but we're very big into the sounds. So like just music. So each this year, each attraction had 32 speakers.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's loud. I mean, our actors, I tell my actors, I'm like, put some earbuds in. It hurts in there. Like if if you're sensitive to that stuff. But I don't want you to be able to hear the person in front of you or be able
Yeah.
to talk to you're walking with. I want you to be like, I'm disoriented. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
That sounds really cool. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah. We may bring it back in like 5 years. I'm not sure where you guys are located, but
Yeah.
especially when we do Green Park, it's something that I think it's going to be worth the drive from different states to come see in a few years.
It'd be awesome to see Hackney Haunts. I'd love to see it in person. I've only ever read about it and seen pictures. Where
Yeah.
Oh
actually,
yeah,
So
We actually have from that year 2020 we have a little walkthrough. It was
okay.
last night. It should be on the page. But yeah,
Is that
it's
the
a
one that was
little
on the news? Was there like a news footage of it, like a news crew
no.
team?
They did come out that year and they did record it. But and they got some of the footage and stuff. But there's an actual live walkthrough of last night. I went through it of a phone, just to get footage of it. We went live, and I think it might actually be on Jason Hackney's personal page. But yeah, I walked through, so all the actors were doing their bits and stuff, and as I walked around with the camera and stuff, so you got to kind of see as much as you can with a haunted house and that dark light. And it's always hard to get footage, but
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you watch on YouTube of haunts, it's always going to be much better in person because there's smell vision, the soundtracks. You don't know what the floor is like. The floor could be disorienting. So
yeah, that's true. That's
massively
true.
different.
Yeah. I wonder if one day we'll be able to do it like where it's like virtual and you can feel everything. That'd be cool. Future talk, right?
But a quick question about the holiday theme stuff. For you as a owner, I'm always curious because you always see like Christmas haunts, Valentine's Day haunts, St. Patrick's Day haunts. John knows what I'm about ready to ask. How come there's no Easter haunts? How come no haunts do an Easter thing? There's very few that do it, but I would love to see like this, haunts open on Easter.
Easter
bunnies, have kind of like a scavenger and find Easter eggs, while you're being scared. Like, as an owner, why do you think that's not a big thing?
Well, I know that I've heard of one or two that have done it. I don't know where, but I from my experience and like how I would feel about it is Easter's too close. Easter's in April, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like by then in April, most haunts are already working on their October, their October haunts. I know for us, like we did a Christmas one this year, and I've been on the build process already. I mean, even, as soon as Christmas was over, we were already talking about the themes. We were already planning things out. We're planning it right away. As soon as like we were actually talking about it at the end of haunt season, like what are we doing next year? What are our themes? So I mean, we start building pretty much. Technically, the build starts first week of February. January's tear down. But I just don't think there'd be enough time to open up for Easter with if you're gonna do, if you're gonna change up your haunt.
If you're gonna change,
not even if you're doing all of it, just like you want to obviously change your show as much as possible for your guests. So that's what I would think. I know some open for St. Patty's, and I think that's cutting it close just because Transworld's right there.
Yes.
So and most haunts.
Yeah, a lot of haunts are actually going to be open like right before Transworld happens. It's like really close.
I can only imagine the stress of that because, like, I mean, you're playing out your haunt, you're trying to figure out Transworld. Like, hey, if you go there for the team, like, what are we getting? What are we doing? What are we looking for? Blah blah blah. But if you're playing a haunt, I mean, that has to be some crazy work. But that's the only thing I can think of why a haunt wouldn't open for Easter is the fact that there's just not enough time, starting after Easter to start building.
That makes sense.
I mean, Jason has pitched the idea of like one day opening it up for like that holiday, just because there is nothing. So, we may try it in a few years or something like that. We're thinking about maybe doing Valentine's this year. But, I mean, one thing is that if we do a haunt, a different theme, we're not going to just throw up a few decorations. We're retheming as much as we can, for the music program, the lighting, the costumes, the characters. We want you to, like, if you come out, we want you to really enjoy it and feel really immersed and be like, wow, was I, like, if we had some Valentine's, wow, am I in love because Cupid shot me? Yeah.
That's
but
great.
yeah, that's.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That really does.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Oh, right.
I could be wrong too. I mean, I don't know when other haunts start, but I just know we have to start like immediately. Like we've had as much work as we do. So, yeah.
Right.
Well, I've talked to the people at Field. I actually got to intern with them years ago, and when they were building, and that was
Oh wow.
fascinating to see. And they're working constant,
Yeah.
constantly working on things. So, and now they
Well,
open
you
for now they open for all these different holidays. So they're literally doing that right before transfer. They're open for St. Patty's. So
which I think, like I said, I think that's crazy. I mean, it's awesome. I just I get so tired. I mean, we don't have a big team. It's just right now it's me, Jason, Sarah, and Jason just and Sarah just had a kid.
okay,
So having
congrats.
an infant. Yeah, Jason has a wife too. They just bought this new farmland too, in preparation for the future. So they're making gateways, but like as a build team, I mean, we have a few people that come and help us, but the hardcore builds, it's just me and Jason. And Jason, like I said, Jason also has a full-time job. I actually quit my job to do this. I also freelance for from so I do, like this year I'll be working a lot with Cornstalkers down in Waldorf, Maryland. Jimmy, I did a few of his facades last year, very last minute. But this year I'm going to be redoing his barn haunt and his asylum haunt. And I mean, we're constantly talking like every other day about these ideas, and I want to bring his sets to like a whole new level. And like I'm creating a bunch of pneumatics for him, a bunch of props for him. So I think that's gonna be fun for him. I'm even talking to Kim. I might do some work for Kim. And I mean, even if I don't, Kim has some crazy things coming. I'm sure she's told you about it, but
She teased it.
I have some inside scoop. I've seen what she's been buying, and I'm gonna say, like, I thought I spent a lot of money this year, and I thought I bought a lot of stuff, but no, Kim has outdone me like 20 times, and she has some crazy ideas, and I think her haunt's gonna be amazing this year, and I'm pretty excited to see it. Hopefully, she brings me on board to do maybe a room or something. I don't know. I think it'd be fun. She has a lot of fun toys. I will say that.
Well, I bet she will because she referred to you as one of her best friends, so I bet she would. So
Yeah, I actually was just talking to her like 10 minutes before this. She got these new props. And, Kim is the only person that I know of that I can call and be like, Kim, look at the new prop I got. And I'll send her pictures. She'll do the same thing. We're both little kids. Like when we drove out to New York, we were both just like little kids going, ooh, I wonder what he has. Ooh, I wonder what we're going to see, what we're going to buy. We're both little kids. And Kim's so much fun to hang out with. I love how passionate she is about it too. It's like me and her were just it's a 5-hour drive, I think, there and back. And yeah, and the whole time, I mean, we were just talking about haunt stuff, talking about the ideas and like how we love the haunt world and all this stuff. And yeah, I think she's the only person that I bond with that well about like just like how excited we are. Like I said, I mean, she just got some cool heads, some like these like cool realistic looking heads. And he sent a picture. I'm like, no, I want them. But yeah,
oh
it's
man.
definitely fun.
So going back to some of the themes you've done in the past, I read about different themes you did with different animatronics, and I thought it was really cool that you did one haunt called Bite Fight, where it was actually werewolves versus vampires, and I wanted to know how you got the inspiration for that.
I've always been like a nostalgic, I guess, kind of like fan. Like I love the original creatures, like Dracula, a Wolfman, and I love Frankenstein. I mean, you should see my car. I have a little Frankenstein doll, and I have collectibles of Frankenstein. But I'm a big movie buff, so I watch a crap load of movies, and I watched Underworld, and I love that concept, and essentially it was that concept, but turned into a love story. I built this whole love story for the main villain, Vlad Orpheus. And he lived as a peaceful cult with a bunch of other vampires in a castle in London, and it's all themed around that, right? And the town, was terrified of them, but they never hurt them until one night these wolves started attacking the crops and stuff and attacking the people, and then the town started thinking, hey, it's the vampires, it's Vlad and his family doing this. So what they did is they kidnapped his wife Carmelia, and in the story, one of the women accidentally stabs her with a stake. Now there's a myth that and obviously this is all fake, but like if you stake a vampire and don't pull out the stake, their body stays, but they're dead. So I had a prop like that, and it was all themed around that. So when Vlad came out, So I can get ahead of myself, but so Vlad in rage sent his guys to start capturing the people, bringing them. They eventually found her, the girl that stabbed him, and what they did is they kept her alive and tortured her for years, but then they enslaved these werewolves, right? And brought the werewolves and used these werewolves as like their attack dogs to bring people from the village to be their food. And as a guest now, you were coming from the village. So as you're going through the haunt, the werewolves are taking you to the castle. They're taking you to Lad, and halfway through, the werewolves are done with this. They start escaping, and you go through the forest where I wanted you to kind of feel bad for the wolves, like, you know, because they've been enslaved for so long. And then at the end, it was a big battle, but it was really inspired from Underworld, just because I love the I love the wolves that they had there, like the way they looked and stuff. So I tried to mimic that as much as I could. As far as the vampires, I went for more of an old school, wrinkly skin, creature looking vampires for them. But yeah, Underworld was probably the biggest influence for that.
You guys do give to charity. Do you want to talk about that? Like, what charities do you give to, and how do you get involved with them?
So we try to change it up every year. The first year when I was with him, I think it was we did Wounded Warriors. And we, like I said, we constantly change it every year. We want to be as fair. We try to give as much back to the community, especially since the community of Carroll County and every Westminster, they really support us. So we try to give back. We also give to an animal pantry, and the name's escaping me right now. But that's one of our main ones that we give to. And actually, the person that runs it, she actually acts with her children inside the haunt. So it's cool. So she'll promote us, and we try to give as much as we can. And all year we try to do work for them too, just to help them out. This year, I'm not sure who we're going to donate to. Like it always changes. Last year was also a fire station up in Tawny Town, I think it was. Yeah, I always forget those like which ones where we're donating to and stuff, just because there's so much. We try to, like I said, we try to give out as much as possible, as much as we can.
It's awesome. That's definitely awesome to hear. I love hearing when haunts do that. Give back to the community and charities and stuff like that. It's definitely awesome that you guys do that.
Yeah, we like I said, we try. I think it's good. I mean, I'm thinking this year maybe we'll give to a foodless shelter, just because I think in October, at least that's what I used to do when I did my home on. I collect the canned goods, and in October, people aren't donating food to like homeless, like food pantries and stuff. In November, yeah, they're stacked, and so it's December, but October, I think it's a little dry, so maybe we'll do that this year.
It's awesome.
Good idea. Nice. And definitely tell everybody where you can follow Hackney Haunts on social media.
Okay, yeah, so you can follow Hackney Haunts at hackneyhaunts.com. We're actually revamping the website right now. So, I mean, give it a little bit. You can still go check it out and stuff. Next month or so, we'll have it complete. And then we'll slowly start leaking out some of the footage of what we're going to be doing this year. But you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and soon I think we will be getting on TikTok if we can figure that out. But yeah, very good. You can also follow my personal set design work at Carlos Rivas, and that's Rivas on Facebook. Also, you can follow me at its_Carlos Rivas on Instagram, and that's usually where I share a lot of my work that I'm doing right there and then. Like right now, I'm actually working down in North Carolina for another YouTuber. So hopefully I get to go home soon, but we just finished a set and they just finished recording. So yeah, but yeah, you can see my work there too. So yeah.
Man, you're a workaholic, man. You're like in a billion places.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You have no idea. I've been down here for 3 weeks now. I was down here for 5 weeks. Yeah. This guy down here keeps me pretty busy, and it's cool. I learn a lot from the main set designer here. So like, I'm sure you guys have heard of the YouTuber Mr. Beast.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's his sets that we work on.
Oh,
But
okay.
the guy that they brought on as the lead designer, his name's Travis Baker. I say his last name wrong. This dude is full of knowledge. He's worked at Halloween Horror Nights. He's worked at Disney World. He's done work for everywhere, and I learned so much. And a lot of that information I learned from him, I take it back to the haunt and go, I know how to do this. Let's do this. So, yeah. So, yeah, stay tuned. I mean, we have a lot of things coming in the works, and especially after Transworld. I mean, I'll have to show off some of the toys. So,
yeah. Awesome. So I have been John from the Haunt Informer.
And I'm Glenn from Fall Ritual.
And this has been episode 22 of Fall Informer. And thank you very much for being on, Carlos.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'll see you guys this haunt season, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully can make it out. And until next time, happy hauntings.